Hey guys, Lek here. Today, I want to talk about brake pads and some of the main reasons when it's time to change them, some indicators that will tell you time to look at them and probably get them replaced. If you follow my channel, I do have videos how to replace rotors and brake pads on your car. I have multiple cars listed, but the idea is the same. So check out the links below for that. If it's time for you to do it, please definitely subscribe as I have a lot of good information like this for you guys to follow. But brake pads, this is basically what it looks like, right? Indicators: squeaking. If you hear any squeaking or squealing when you're driving, when you're braking, that could be one of the reasons. But it's not a necessary reasons, as a lot of times the giveaway can be the installation wasn't done properly and they didn't grease all the main metal parts that are touching, so that could be causing that. But the first thing you want to do is definitely just even with your rim on your car, just look in there, see the thickness of your pads. You want to be at least a 1/4 inch thick. Technically they say 1/16 inch is where you want to be to legally pass an inspection, but by that time it's done. A lot of brake pads, I'll show you guys a close-up in a second, have a little indicator here which basically causes the squeaking on the pads. That's when it shows you the wear is already, past its life. Another reason will be grinding. That happens after squeaking usually, and once you hear grinding, that means there's a lot of issues, meaning your pads are probably already gone, maybe your rotors worn out as well. It's possible that something's not lined up correctly, seized caliper, which I'll show you what it looks like in a second, and that could be causing that. Another thing is it just takes you longer to stop now. You're noticing you're hitting the brake pads the same way you normally do, or maybe you have to push your foot a little deeper. Your pads are going, you need more pressure to push and stop the car. Car pulling to the side, let's say it's pulling to the left or right, that could mean there's a seized caliper. A caliper is the part that pushes your pads against one of the sides, and then the other side, maybe one of the bolts is seized. I'll show you what it looks like in just a few seconds. That could be causing an issue. So one side is braking correctly, one isn't, your car is pulling to the side. Also means maybe one of the rotors is more worn out. And also could be brake fluid. Check your brake fluid. Maybe you just don't have brake fluid, to create the correct pressure. So that could be it. And yeah, I will show you now, guys, some close-ups, exactly what you're looking for, and to decide if it's time to change your brakes. And I believe most of you guys, if not all of you, can do this yourself. I've made videos for you guys to do this, easy to follow, will save you guys a lot of money as well. But if you're not comfortable, have a mechanic, a trustworthy mechanic that you work with, check him out for you. And I'll show you guys what to look for. So this is where your brake pads are located, right in there. This is the caliper assembly that's holding them. You should be able to get a view from an angle just to see how much pad life is left. And as you guys can see over there, I have at least a 1/4 inch, if not more. So my pads look okay. So the squeaking could be the other reasons I mentioned, not the thickness of the pad. So here's what a typical brake pad looks like. As you guys can see, this is a brand new pad, nice and thick. Everything is nice and even, no wear on one side of the other. If you take your pads off and you see that there's wear on one side and not the other, that could be a seized caliper, which I'll show you where that is. But these are brand new pads, so fully thick. So here are the squeak indicators that I was telling you guys about. Not every pad has that, but it's pretty common now. And as you see, they're set right about less than a 1/4 inch of the pad thickness. So once your pads wear down to this, you'll get that typical squeak indicator telling you it's time to change your pads. Once your pads run down to the middle, this is steel here. Once this is grinding against your rotor, you're going to definitely hear grinding. It's going to tear up your rotors, which time you're going to have to replace both. But I still always recommend replacing rotors and brake pads at the same time, especially if you're doing yourself, because it will be a lot cheaper for you to do that than with a mechanic. But now I will show you guys what the pads look like. So here's basically the brake caliper assembly. There's a piston in there that pushes the pad, and these are the two bolts, caliper bolts, that basically compress the brake pads from this side. If one of these is seized or locked up in there, that's going to cause the uneven braking. So there's one on the bottom here. If you guys watch my video how to replace brake pads and rotors, you know, you can clearly see how to replace all this. Here's your pad. As you see, the thickness is still fine on it. And here's the view. There's a pad on the left and on the right, and that's basically where your brake pads sit. Here is the indicators, the squeak indicators I was telling you about. This is the pieces that you need to have lubricated. Any metal touching, any loose metal that's touching the pads, the caliper assembly, has to be greased up. That could be one of the reasons that you just get in squeaking. So it's not a big issue, it's just the noise, which is annoying. So when you're doing your brakes, definitely get some kind of lubricant to grease everything up. I have a full breakdown in my how-to videos to do this. This is just the information, you know, for you guys right now. Now with the caliper assembly removed, just to show you guys, that's the piston that pushes down on the pad on the inside. And as you guys can see, the pads are still good here. What I'm doing here is I just want to check that there's enough grease, as I had a little squeak in, but they just slide right out, and now we can inspect them, and these look good. There is no damage or difference in thickness. So we're just gonna grease everything up, make sure that these clips are greased up in here, and so on. This piece you don't remove, you only remove this if you're replacing your rotors. So if you're just doing your brake pads, you would only unbolt that. So these are the guide pins, and you want to make sure that this is all greased up as well, so it's not seized up. They should all be moving freely in and out. And so is this one, so this is all good. But that's basically it. That will be a quick check, and then you just pop new pads on. So this is the clips I mentioned earlier. You want to make sure these are clean and greased up on both ends, anywhere it's connecting the metal here and anywhere it's connecting on the pad. Just make sure you don't get any grease on the pad itself. You don't want grease between the pad and the rotor. That's always a bad thing. You are putting grease back here, as well as grease on the piston right here, anywhere there's moving parts or connection, because that causes the vibration, and that's what can cause squeaking as well if it's not the pad wear itself. Guys, is front pads compared to your rear pads. There's a difference in size, so when you're ordering them, make sure you know you're getting the right set for the front and for the back. Sometimes it's a complete set for both, and get a good brand. You know, definitely stick. The better the quality of a pad, the less chance of squeaking or noise or anything. So it all depends what quality you get. That's a big thing. So that's about it, guys. If I missed anything, or if I forgot to mention any other factors, please comment below for others to see. Let's share and help each other out. Let's save some money by doing this ourselves. I'm going to continue playing mechanic, but that's it for me. Please subscribe if you haven't. If you like this video, give me a thumbs up. It's greatly appreciated. I want to see your comments, questions. Let me know. I will get back to you as soon as possible. Thank you for watching, guys. Lex signing off.